Hi everyone, just another quick update on the progress on the layout. What I've been doing here is in the GCR goods yard is I've cut the rail here and added these two cables in, so that essentially bridges that gap. So that's an isolating section. I've glued in the buffer stops there as well, and I've also added another isolating section up here. So there's the breaking the rail join there, sorry, breaking the rail, and there's one of the cables, and there's the other one of the cables to join those two sides together. But unfortunately, right under here, where I decided to put the brake, is the supporting batten, so I had to go either side of it. So that's why there's one cable there and one cable there, but they do the same job. They bridge that break in the rail. I've also added a couple of buffer stops there and a couple of buffer stops on the backs of these sidings down here. So that's all all fixed down now. So that's the diesel depot, and you just caught a glimpse of this panel as well, so I'll show you this now. So that's the control panel just for the GCR station loop and sidings. So the yellow cables that you saw up here, those two are actually connected to that switch there. So that's the on-off switch for that isolating section, and the isolating section there is connected to that switch just there. So the yellow switches are the isolating switches, and the black switches are the point motors. So you notice I've only got one for that loop line that runs around the back, which is that line there. So there's 2 points, there's one there and one just behind those screws there, but they only have one switch, which is just here. So that's just the one switch, because both point motors are wired together, so we only actually need one switch for that. So those switches are all in. The next thing to do to that is to wire the point motors up onto the back of the switches and add the LEDs for the route indicator. So I should be doing that at some point. So there's going to be 4 control panels, one on each side, so there'll be one over here running along there, so I've got to add a batten to that area. So yeah, one for each side, and the panel will just control whatever's on that particular side of the layout. I've got to squeeze probably onto this panel, also the top section as well when I put that together. So probably the top section will be on that side of the panel, and those points, that point work around there, will be on this side of the panel. Now moving round, you see I've been wiring up my point motors. Moving round, I've added this loop in. So this is the loop through the main station. So these two are on the GCR line as well. So there's a point here and a point down there. Still waiting on their point motors to go in, but the holes are actually already drilled for those, and that gives a little bit more movement opportunities around there. So we can park something up in the loop and still run something round, or maybe park something in the loop and get a loco out of the diesel depot round onto that line as well. So just up the back here, we're starting to get the point work in for that corner, and we've got some more points that have arrived over here, so we can start branching this out now into the main shed area down here. So I've still got to lay those lines out as well. So I've been having a quick tinker with this. This is the route indicator, the signal panel route indicator. Rather loud car. Panel route indicator. So what I've decided to do is just use one colour LEDs. So remember, I've got two of these. So I'm just going to have one colour of LEDs onto this panel. So they'll all be green on that panel. They might be all red on that panel, but all green and all red. So that we're not having green and red LEDs to indicate routes, because what I'm eventually going to do is also add green and red LEDs for signals onto the panel. So the only red LEDs will be effectively mirroring what the signal is doing on the layout. So yet to add to that panel are some switches for signals as well. And I think I'm going to use probably these blue caps for the signals. I might do red ones for signals actually, but I've got these blue ones. So blue might be signals, or maybe accessory switches like power on offs for lights, building lights, that kind of thing. I think I might stick with red for actually signals actually. I've been chopping these blocks up as and when I need them to. So if you have a look over here, they're mostly in blocks of 3, because the signals have 3 cables off the back of them. If I can get that into shot, 3 cables, red, black and green. And if you can see over there, what I've been doing is wiring those together for the signals. So it's a bit of a mess again, unfortunately, up here. I need to have a bit of a clear out, but it's starting to come together. I think what I'm going to do for the rest of the day is have a bit of a tidy up and continue laying this line now through the station. So we're starting to build up the Great Western line as well as the GCR line. So there we go. That's pretty much where I've got to up here. Notice I've moved these station buildings out of the way again. I've drilled some holes, so I'm going to be putting in the lighting circuit as well. I essentially took everything up so that I didn't damage anything, partly when I was using the soldering iron and partly when I was using the drill, because dust goes all over the place. So now the drilling's all out of the way, I'm going to wire up the lighting circuit, put the buildings back down again, and start placing the signals as well. So there'll be a signal down here somewhere for these 2 lines. There'll be a signal back onto the main crossover down here. Signals up here to come this way through the crossovers. Yeah, busy time signalling this area, I think. Probably a signal here as well for the routes round here, back onto the main line. I've decided I'm going to use a Pico PL13 on that point motor there, so it's like an accessory switch that goes onto the bottom of that point motor, so that when that point is thrown for the main line, the signal here will be red, and when it's thrown for the diesel depot, the signal will go green. I think that's probably the easiest thing to do over there, so make it like an automated sort of signal. So I'll leave you with that for now, and I'll carry on with doing some bits and pieces up here. Bye for now.